Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Tanvi Taneja and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Economic survey pegs India's real economic growth in 2021-22 at 11%. Chief Economic Advisor says economy is witnessing V-shaped recovery. President Nath Kovind says our goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat will be strengthened by self-reliance in agriculture. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope that parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspirations of people. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists killed in gunfight with security forces in Tral area of Pulwama district. Maharashtra government allows general public to travel in local trains in Mumbai from 1st of February during non-peak hours. And beating the retreat ceremony held to culminate the 4-day-long Republic Day celebrations. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin this bulletin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focusing on hand hygiene and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The government today said that the country is witnessing a V-shaped economic recovery, which is a testimony to the resilience and intrinsic strength of its economy. It happened due to the mega vaccination drive, robust recovery in the services sector, and robust growth in consumption and investment. The economic survey tabled in Parliament projects India's real GDP to record an 11% growth in the financial year 2021-22 and nominal GDP to grow by 15.4%, the highest since independence. Speaking to reporters in New Delhi, Chief Economic Advisor K. Subramanian said V-shaped recovery is due to resurgence in high-frequency indicators such as power demand, rail freight, e-way bills, GST collection and steel consumption. He said during high uncertainty, policy should minimize large losses. The CEA said early intense lockdown saved lives and helped faster recovery.
India focused on saving lives and livelihoods, took short-term pain for long-term gain, recognized that while GDP growth will recover, and it has, lost human lives cannot be brought back. This was the humane principle that guided India's policy response. India was the only country to announce a slew of structural reforms. India's demand-side measures were also different from the other countries, were more calibrated, recognizing the simple idea that pushing the accelerator, works only when the brakes are removed. The V-shaped economic recovery, without a second wave makes India therefore a sui generis case in mature policy making. The mega vaccination drive that is now on should enable this recovery, especially in the services sector.
Mr. Subramanian said, hence, India announced discretionary measures in unlock phase as part of Atmanirbhar Bharat package. Illustrating that India's debt is sustainable, Mr. Subramanian noted that even if India were to have the real GDP growth rate as low as 3.8% each year from financial year 2023 to financial year 2029, the debts will still come down. He said India has a track record of having adopted expansionary fiscal policy focused on infrastructure spending, and there is a need to replicate the same. The economic survey highlights the potential of public investment, especially in a slowdown. It called for a fiscal policy to support growth and stressed the need for a rethink in fiscal rules. The Chief Economic Advisor said India must continue to focus on growth so that we expand the pie, enabling redistributive policies that lift people out of poverty. He said small levels of increase in public spending on health care can have a non-linear impact and result in a very large decrease in out-of-pocket expenditure by typical families on health care. The CEA said economic survey shows Ayushman Bharat has led to improved health outcomes, saving lives and livelihoods, and resulting in various direct and spillover effects. India is to become the fastest growing economy in the next 2 years as per the International Monetary Fund IMF. India is to have a current account surplus of 2% of GDP in financial year 2021, a historic high after 17 years.
The budget session of Parliament began today. The session began with the address of President Nath Kovind to the joint sitting of both the Houses of Parliament. Addressing the session, the President said, "The Constitution gives us the right to freedom of expression, but it also expects that we abide by the laws and rules with equal sincerity." President Kovind termed the recent acts of dishonouring the national flag and showing disrespect to the auspicious occasion of the Republic Day as unfortunate.
मेरी सरकार ने लोकतंत्र में अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी और शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलनों का हमेशा सम्मान किया है, लेकिन पिछले दिनों हुआ तिरंगे और गणतंत्र दिवस जैसे पवित्र दिन का अपमान बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। जो संविधान हमें अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी का अधिकार देता है, वही संविधान हमें सिखाता है कि कानून और नियम का भी उतनी ही गंभीरता से पालन करना चाहिए। मेरी सरकार ये स्पष्ट करना चाहती है कि 3 नए कृषि कानून बनने से पहले पुरानी व्यवस्थाओं के तहत जो अधिकार थे तथा जो सुविधाएं थी, उनमें कहीं कोई कमी नहीं की गई है, बल्कि इन कृषि सुधारों के जरिए सरकार ने किसानों को नई सुविधाएं उपलब्ध कराने के साथ साथ नए अधिकार भी दिए हैं।
The President said our goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat will be strengthened by self-reliance in agriculture. He said the 3 farm laws enacted by Parliament in the previous session aim at further helping the farmers in the country as they provide more rights and power to the farmers. Mr. Kovind added that over 10 crore small and marginal farmers have started getting benefits from these reforms in the agriculture sector.
इन कृषि सुधारों का सबसे बड़ा लाभ भी 10 करोड़ से अधिक छोटे किसानों को तुरंत मिलना शुरू हुआ। छोटे किसानों को होने वाले इन लाभों को समझते हुए ही अनेक राजनीतिक दलों ने समय समय पर इन सुधारों को अपना भरपूर समर्थन दिया था। वर्तमान में इन कानूनों का अमलीकरण देश की सर्वोच्च अदालत ने स्थगित किया हुआ है। मेरी सरकार उच्चतम न्यायालय के निर्णय का पूरा सम्मान करते हुए उसका पालन करेगी। लोकतंत्र और संविधान की मर्यादा को सर्वोपरि रखने वाली मेरी सरकार इन कानूनों के संदर्भ में पैदा किए गए भ्रम को दूर करने का निरंतर प्रयास कर रही है।
The President asserted that the central government has taken several measures to improve the condition of farmers in the country, like implementation of the recommendations of MS Swaminathan Committee report on agriculture. It has increased the MSP of crops by 1.5 times at the cost of production.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत का हमारा लक्ष्य आत्मनिर्भर कृषि से और सशक्त होगा। इसी सोच के साथ सरकार ने बीते 6 वर्षों में बीज से लेकर बाजार तक हर व्यवस्था में सकारात्मक परिवर्तन का प्रयास किया है, ताकि भारतीय कृषि आधुनिक भी बने और कृषि का विस्तार भी हो। इन्हीं प्रयासों के क्रम में मेरी सरकार ने स्वामीनाथन आयोग की सिफारिशों को लागू करते हुए लागत से 1.5 गुना एमएसपी देने का फैसला भी किया। मेरी सरकार आज न सिर्फ एमएसपी पर रिकॉर्ड मात्रा में खरीद कर रही है, बल्कि खरीद केंद्रों की संख्या को भी बढ़ा रही है। मुझे खुशी है कि सरकार के इन प्रयासों को हमारे किसान अपने परिश्रम से और आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं।
Talking about the fight against COVID-19, Mr. Kovind expressed satisfaction that due to timely decisions of government, lives of millions of people have been saved and the number of corona patients are gradually decreasing in the country. President Kovind said the country has started recovering from the damage done to the economy by the COVID pandemic amid centre's incessant efforts to save the life of every countryman. Mr. Kovind added that even in these difficult times, India has emerged as an attractive place for the investors of the world.
कोरोना काल में बनी वैश्विक परिस्थितियों ने जब हर देश की प्राथमिकता उसकी अपनी जरूरतें थी, हमें ये याद दिलाया है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत का निर्माण क्यों इतना महत्वपूर्ण है। इस दौरान भारत ने बहुत ही कम समय में 2200 से अधिक प्रयोगशालाओं का नेटवर्क बनाकर हजारों वेंटिलेटर्स का निर्माण करके पीपीई किट से लेकर टेस्ट किट बनाने तक में आत्मनिर्भरता हासिल करके अपनी वैज्ञानिक क्षमता, अपनी तकनीकी दक्षता और अपने मजबूत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम का भी परिचय दिया है।
The President also said by making lakhs of corona vaccine doses available to several countries in India has also fulfilled its obligation towards humanity in these difficult times. He said it is a delightful coincidence that the nation started construction of the new parliament while moving towards the 75th year of independence. President Kovind said the government is fully committed to protect the interests of the country. Referring to Galwan Valley incident, he said additional forces have been deployed to protect India's sovereignty over the line of actual control. President Kovind said efforts are underway to transform Brahmaputra and Barak rivers as streams of development, and this will benefit all sections of people in the northeast. Talking about the development initiatives in Jammu and Kashmir, he said, after becoming a union territory, elections to the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Council have been held successfully a few months back. He said after the implementation of Ayushman Bharat Health Scheme, every family of Jammu and Kashmir is assured of free treatment worth 5 lakh rupees. President also informed that the country will witness the beginning of Amrit Mahotsav from this year, which will mark the commencement of the celebrations towards the 75th year of India's independence. Congress, Left, RJD, NCP, DMK, TMC, Shiv Sena, Samajwadi Party and others have boycotted the President's address, protesting against the farm laws. The government has convened an all-party meeting tomorrow to seek support of political parties to ensure smooth conduct of business in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Our correspondent reports that on Sunday, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for a meeting of leaders of all parties in the upper house.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said this decade is very important for India's bright future and it should be fully utilized. Speaking to media at the commencement of the budget session today, the Prime Minister said there should be discussions in this session related to this decade, which is expected by the nation.
इस दशक का आज ये पहला सत्र प्रारंभ हो रहा है। भारत के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए ये दशक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और इसलिए प्रारंभ से ही आजादी के दीवानों ने जो सपने देखे थे, उन सपनों को, उन संकल्पों को तेज गति से सिद्ध करने का ये स्वर्णिम अवसर अब देश के पास आया है। इस दशक का भरपूर उपयोग हो और इसलिए इस सत्र में इस पूरे दशक को ध्यान में रखते हुए चर्चाएं हो, सभी प्रकार के विचारों की प्रस्तुति हो और उत्तम मंथन से उत्तम अमृत प्राप्त हो, ये देश की अपेक्षाएं हैं।
Mr. Modi said the first session of the Parliament of this decade has commenced today, and this year's budget will be seen as a part of those 4 to 5 mini budgets which were presented in the form of different packages by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman last year. He said this is for the first time in Indian history that Finance Minister had to present 4 to 5 mini budgets during 2020. The Prime Minister expressed confidence and hope that all the parliamentarians will fulfill the aspirations of people by following all the limitations of democracy.
मुझे विश्वास है कि जिस आशा और अपेक्षा के साथ देश के कोटि-कोटि जनों ने हम सबको संसद में भेजा है, हम संसद के इस पवित्र स्थान का भरपूर उपयोग करते हुए, लोकतंत्र की सभी मर्यादाओं का पालन करते हुए, जन आकांक्षाओं की पूर्ति के लिए अपने योगदान में पीछे नहीं रहेंगे। सभी सांसद इस सत्र को और अधिक उत्तम बनाएंगे, ये मेरा पूरा विश्वास है।
The copy of President Nath Kovind's address to the joint sitting of both houses of Parliament was tabled in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also presented the Economic Survey 2020-21 in Parliament. In the Lok Sabha, the survey was presented amid the protest by the Congress, the DMK and the Left members against the 3 farm laws. The lower house made obituary references to the demise of sitting MP Suresh Angadi and former members Ram Vilas Paswan, Tarun Gogoi, Motilal Vora, Jaswant Singh, Ahmed Patel and others. The Rajya Sabha made obituary references to the demise of 3 sitting MPs and 11 former members. Members from the Congress, the DMK, the SP, the RJD and others demanded to make obituary references to the farmers who lost their lives during the protest against the 3 farm laws. Both the houses were adjourned for the day and now will meet on Monday. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Smriti Zubin Irani today took a jibe on Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for his comments. Briefing media in New Delhi, Ms. Irani said instead of calling for peace, Mr. Gandhi called for anarchic elements to spread fire in the country. She said the Congress leader not only wants law and order breakdown, but also supports anarchic elements daring to insult the tricolour and break the nation. She said it is shocking but expected of Rahul Gandhi that over 300 injured cops did not receive a word of consolation from him.
As a citizen of this country, I appeal to every Indian citizen to ensure that Rahul Gandhi's call for violence is met with sustained peace, that Rahul Gandhi's intentions to politically benefit from strife is defeated. Not a word was spoken by Mr. Gandhi in protest against the behavior meted out to female police personnel or those police personnel and media personnel upon whom attacks were undertaken. I reiterate that though Rahul Gandhi will call for violence, we as citizens of India seek your support to ensure peace. We know that the citizens of India under one flag will ensure that law and order is maintained in our country.
A low-intensity explosion took place near the Israel embassy in the heart of Lutyens, Delhi today evening. The Delhi police said the blast took place near the pavement and that the windscreens of 3 cars nearby have been damaged. No injuries have been reported. Shortly after the blast, the Central Industrial Security Force, CISF, has issued an alert at all the airports, important installations and the government buildings. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to Israeli Foreign Minister Gavi Ashkenazi this evening about the explosion outside the Israeli embassy. In a tweet, Mr. Jaishankar said, "We take this very seriously." He assured his Israeli counterpart of the fullest protection for the embassy and Israeli diplomat. The External Affairs Minister said the matter is under investigation and no effort will be spared to find the culprits. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Economic Survey pegs India's real economic growth in 2021 and 22 at 11%. Chief Economic Advisor says economy is witnessing V-shaped recovery. President Nath Kovind says our goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat will be strengthened by self-reliance in agriculture. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope that parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspirations of the people. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists killed in gunfight with security forces in Tral area of Pulwama district. Maharashtra government allows general public to travel in local trains in Mumbai from 1st of February during non-peak hours. And beating retreat ceremony held to culminate 4-day-long Republic Day celebrations. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists were killed in a gunfight with security forces in Mandura village in Tral area of South Kashmir's Pulwama district this afternoon. After a brief exchange of gunfire, joint teams of the Jammu and Kashmir police and the army were able to gun down the hiding terrorists. Addressing a press conference this evening, Inspector General of Police Kashmir Vijay Kumar said that the slain terrorists were locals and have been identified as Arif Sheikh, Waris Bhatt and Eshtemamul Haq, all from different areas of Pulwama district. He said that these terrorists were associated with the Hizbul Mujahideen outfit. Speaking about the IED blast in which 1 army soldier died and 3 others were injured on 27th of January in Kulgam district, the IGP said that they have identified the person who had planted the IED. The culprits belong to Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit and attempts are on to nab them. A total of over 29,28,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said that more than 5,72,000 people have been inoculated with COVID-19 doses in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 96.96% with the total recovery of more than 20,000 patients in the last 24 hours. The ministry said that more than 1.3 lakh patients have already recovered from this disease. COVID-19 active cases is on a continuous declining trajectory in the country. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,71,686, which comprises only 1.6% of the total positive cases. Bahrain has said that Made in India vaccine, which it received yesterday, is going to be of great help for their people. In an exclusive interview to AIR News, the ambassador of Bahrain to India, Abdul Rahman Al Qaoud, said this proves the strength of the long-standing friendship between the two countries.
I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the leadership, government and people of Republic of India for their continuous collaboration and effort to strengthen the bilateral relation, which continues to deliver on the aspiration of both countries. The Kingdom of Bahrain and the Republic of India share historical and ever-growing friendship. Bahrain appreciates and welcomes the Republic of India cooperation in overcoming challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Keeping in view crowd management in the wake of COVID-19 situation, the Maharashtra government has decided to allow the general public to travel in local trains in Mumbai from 1st of February during non-peak hours in fixed time slots. The decision was taken after Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's review meeting on the issue of resumption of suburban train services considered as the lifeline of Mumbai. More from our correspondent.
In order to avoid overcrowding in the local trains of Mumbai, the Maharashtra government has decided that the general public will be allowed to travel during non-peak hours, that is from the start of the services for the day to 7 a.m., between 12 noon and 4 p.m., and then again from 9 p.m. to the closure of the services for the day. At present, in wake of the coronavirus pandemic, only some categories of commuters such as women and those providing essential services are allowed to travel by local trains in Mumbai. The state government and railways have already started preparations for crowd control and management at the railway stations. The suburban train services were suspended in March end last year due to the coronavirus pandemic and gradually resumed from June 2020. The much-awaited decision has certainly come as a relief to Mumbaikars. Meanwhile, the Maharashtra government today also extended its lockdown restrictions till 28 February. Sweetie Jain, AIR News, Mumbai.
According to the order issued, the state government has also directed that shops will be allowed to operate till 11 p.m. while restaurants will be allowed to operate till 1 a.m. However, it further said that the 30% limit for staff will continue to be in force and these establishments will be allowed to operate as per the SOPs issued by the state government.
A World Health Organization WHO team of 13 scientists began its investigation work into the origins of COVID-19 on Friday after concluding a 14-day quarantine in central China's Wuhan city. As part of its field visits, the team first went to Hubei Provincial Hospital of Integrated Chinese and Western Medicine, one of the first hospitals that had treated patients in the early days of the outbreak. The WHO experts started with the first face-to-face meeting with their Chinese counterparts, to whom they were in touch with during 14-day quarantine through video conference. WHO said earlier on Twitter that the team requested for detailed underlying data and planned to speak with early responders and some of the first COVID-19 patients. It also planned to visit markets such as Huanan Seafood Market, linked to many of the first cases, the Wuhan Institute of Virology and laboratories at facilities such as the Wuhan Center for Disease Control. The Government of India and the World Bank today signed a $500 million strengthening teaching, learning and results for states program STARS to improve the quality and the governance of school education in 6 Indian states. These include Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha and Rajasthan. Some 250 million students between the age of 6 and 17 in 1.5 million schools and over 10 million teachers will benefit from the program. In Tamil Nadu, more than 70 lakh children will receive polio immunization on Sunday. The State Health Department said that 43,000 centers will function in all the districts. The centers will also follow the COVID-19 guidelines during the process. More in this report.
The vaccination centers will also follow the COVID-19 guidelines during the process. 3,000 vehicles will be used as mobile units for immunization. Special booths will be formed at airports, railway and bus stations. More than 2 lakh health workers, teachers, Anganwadi workers and volunteers will be deployed for the purpose. Children from newborn infants to those that are below 5 years of age will be given the vaccine. The government has instructed that everyone should wear a face mask and maintain social distancing.
Body temperatures will be checked and hand sanitizers will also be used for those who bring the children along for immunization. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
Veteran Gujarati film and theatre actor and film producer Arvind Joshi passed away this morning in Mumbai. He was 84 and under treatment at Nanavati Hospital in Mumbai. He survived by his actor son Sharman Joshi and actress daughter Mansi Joshi Roy. Late Arvind Joshi had worked in dozens of Gujarati movies including Pardeshi Maniaro and Footpath Neerani. He also worked in Hindi blockbuster movie Sholay in 1975.
The high-level committee under the chairmanship of Home Minister Amit Shah today approved additional central assistance of over 1,751 crore rupees under the National Disaster Response Fund NDRF to 5 states which were affected by floods, landslides during southwest monsoon 2020 and hailstorm during Rabi 2019-20. While approving the additional central assistance, Mr. Shah said the Union government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has resolved to help people of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Odisha, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh who braved these natural disasters. Beating the retreat ceremony marking the culmination of the 4-day-long Republic Day celebrations was held at the historic Vijay Chowk in New Delhi this evening. Indian tunes were the flavour of beating the retreat ceremony this year as well. President Nath, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Chief of Defence Staff and Chiefs of 3 services were present at the ceremony among others. More from our correspondent.
Bands from the Army, Navy, Air Force and Central Armed Police Force presented 26 performances at the historic Vijay Chowk and enthralled the spectators with captivating and foot-tapping music. The entry band was masked band with Swarnim Vijay theme. It was a special new composition to commemorate 50 years of victory of India in the 1971 war against Pakistan. It was followed by Pipes and Drums Band, CAPF bands, Air Force Band, Naval Band, Army Mill Band and masked bands. Tunes like Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja, Bharat Ki Jawan, Saathi Bhai, Sitare Hind, Nidar Yodha, Evening Star, Tiranga Senani, Queen of Hill, Sky War, Manohar, Bharat Bandana, Garud Prahar, Abide With Me and Drummer's Call were part of the ceremony. The principal conductor of the Beating the Retreat ceremony was Lieutenant Colonel Girish Kumar Yu of AEC Training College and Centre. The event came to a close with the ever-popular tune Ab Sare Jahan Se Acha. Anupam Mish, AR News, Delhi.
Beating the Retreat is a centuries-old military tradition dating from the days when troops disengaged from the battle at sunset.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to experience haze in the morning. The temperature will hover between 4 and 20 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around 14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 30 degrees. Chennai will witness mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The temperature will vary between 26 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, there will be mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The city will observe a minimum of around 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 25 degrees. In Srinagar, there will be partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The temperature will hover between -8 and 4 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, the minimum temperature will be around 6 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 20 degrees with clear sky. Leh will have a minimum temperature of -15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 6 degrees. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between -6 and 12 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, the temperature will hover between 4 and 18 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Economic survey pegs India's real economic growth in 2021-22 at 11%. Chief Economic Advisor says economy is witnessing V-shaped recovery. President Nath says our goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat will be strengthened by self-reliance in agriculture. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope that parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspirations of people. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists killed in gunfight with security forces in Tral area of Pulwama district. Maharashtra government allows general public to travel in local trains in Mumbai from 1st of February during non-peak hours. And beating the retreat ceremony held to culminate the 4-day-long Republic Day celebrations. And with that, we end the evening news. From all of us here, good night.